Hare Krishna, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Bhagavad-Gita session today. We will talk about today. Will From today onwards, I think we'll talk about Chaturshloki Bhagavad-Gita, and so this is a series of 4 verses which comes in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, and so these 4 verses contains so much meaning, so much information, so much nectar that these are described by our acharyas as Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita has 700 shlokas, but within these 4 shlokas, the entire meaning of Bhagavad Gita is been packed. So if anybody who is busy does not want to study entire Bhagavad Gita, can probably have very good understanding of these 4 verses and come to the same mood, same learning, same understanding of Bhagavad Gita as one would otherwise get by learning all 700 shlokas. So it doesn't mean we should not study other verses, but this is to highlight how important these 4 verses are. So each and every verse spoken by Lord is important, and we should study all of those and learn from all of those. But these 4 are considered to be special by our acharyas, and hence this is called Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so as we we'll take a little step back and we'll just go to Chaitanya Charitamrita and to understand 3 concepts that are given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teachings and in his instructions to the Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and other acharyas, other Goswamis, who have then later on captured this information through their books and through their writings. This comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, and Prabhupada has elaborately given a lot of information about this. So this is the 3 concepts which will help us understand these 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita also. So hence we'll take a step back and we'll first look at these 3 verse concepts of which are Vedic concepts, and then we will see how the first verse that we will take a look at today and how that verse fits into this conceptual framework. So we so we have 3 concepts broad, that Sambandha Jnana, Abhideya, and Prayojana. We'll look at this with an example also, so that it becomes very clear to us. Just stay with me for a few minutes until I finish with this explanation of these concepts. Could be a little difficult initially to understand for many, but just hold on with me and we should be able to understand it quite easily at the end of this session. The Sambandha Jnana is the Sambandha is with an object. Now the sambandha is established, and when the desire is created for that particular object. So the sambandha is when we understand that the object with which I have to develop a relationship, and when getting that understanding is called sambandha jnana. What should trigger us to have the desire to develop a relationship with that object is what we will also try and understand in detail. But in general, we can say that object could be desirable enough, could be potent enough, could be powerful enough that it deserves our attention. It deserves our um, deserves our action to achieve that object, and and that's the sambandha. Any knowledge that help us develop that is a sambandha jnana. Abhideya is a action taken or the process followed for realizing our desire. So we develop a desire, then we need to do certain things in order to achieve our object of desire. The object per se does not or cannot give us a lasting happiness. We want that object so that we can do something else. We can achieve the ultimate goal after attaining that object. That object we need to attain something higher, something different. So that is called prayojana. So the prayojana is the ultimate goal or objective that we wish to achieve by with the help of that object. So object remains to be a tool using which we wish to attain the ultimate prayojana. let's take a example, and before we go to the example, let's hear from all those who are born after 2000 year. Can you all recognize this ad?
Yeah, Onida, Onida.
Yes,
Oh,
Prabhuji,
no,
Onida.
Mataji. Only after those who are born in 2000 or onwards.
Okay.
Year 2000 onwards. Okay. So, who is there in the in our participant list who was born after 2000 year? Can anybody recognize this ad?
Onida Prabhuji.
Okay, Onida. Is the sentence right? What is written here? What was the tagline they had?
No, it's
Neigh-
wrong.
It was neighbors
neighbors
envy.
envy,
Neighbors
owners
Pride,
envy,
envy.
owners,
owner's
and
pride.
envy.
Who's supposed
No,
to
it
envy
is
and who's
actually
supposed to be proud?
owner's pride, neighbors envy.
Okay, neighbors envy, owners pride. All
Yeah.
right. Okay, yeah, this was a famous television ad, and this was before when the color TV was just getting launched, and Onida created this ad, and this mascot has been there on their ads. All their ads will contain this picture, and they had a tagline that neighbors envy, owners pride. Now we just want to use this as for an example to understand the sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana aspect that we just spoke, the concepts that we just spoke about. So instead of thinking this to be a television, let's think of this to be a car, because televisions, we don't really all of us are experts in television. We don't really hope to get a lot of insights about a television from outsiders. So let's think of this to be instead of a television tagline, a car tagline, that of a, say, Jaguar kind of a car.
Jaguar.
So we'll see that. So we see a new car model, and develop a desire to own that car. So what we are trying to understand is how to understand the concepts of sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. Prayojana is, so the what is the prayojan here? We got that neighbor's envy, owner's pride. That by owning this car, I can make my neighbor envy, because he probably will not have this kind of a car. And so this is a prayojana, ultimate prayojana. And for that, what I need a car. So developing a relationship with a car is the first step, that a sambandha is established. What is a sambandha? The relationship is that I wish to become owner of that car. So this is called sambandha jnana, wherein I'm finalizing after probably a lot of due diligence or after a lot of research, that I want to buy this particular car, hopefully any one of these car. And but now I have seen this car being driven on the street. I probably liked it prima facie, or at first look I liked it, and I have triggered a desire that if I drive this car in my locality, all my neighbors will feel jealous, and I want to see the jealousy in their eyes when I drive this car, and that is going to give me a kick, or if I may so, and or that is going to give me the ultimate happiness. Now, this is the level of happiness, concept of happiness that Kali Yuga people have, that they don't feel happy when they enjoy the object, but when they see other people envy, they feel happy. So that is the degradation that we have. But let's continue with this advertisement. And then now we want to develop a relationship with that object, which is this Jaguar car, but we don't know all about the car. So what we do, we visit the nearest location, where is a showroom of where they sell Jaguars, and then we go through entire conversation with the salesman. We probably might take a test ride, and we see all the features. The salesman or sales girls, whoever, they will probably go on explaining all our beautiful features that this car possesses, which no other car possesses, and that makes our desire into urge. What is the difference? Difference urge is there is urgency to own. Not only desire is a desire to own. I may want to own after my retirement. Maybe I'll just keep starting saving money now. Hopefully by the end of my working life, at the time of retirement, I'll have probably enough money to buy a Jaguar. That could be a desire. Urgency, urge is different. Vacha vega, manasa krodha vega. So veg is translated as urge. Urge is there is urgency to own. There is not only a desire. I can't wait for 15, 20, 30 years to own a Jaguar. I want it now. And that is called urgency. And so once we understand all the features of this car, we take a test ride, and then we see imagine ourselves enjoying this car or driving this car. Then our desire become urge, and then we want to now figure out how can we buy this car. We require a lot of money. We will probably have to liquidate our savings. We will have to do a lot of probably tap all our sources of finance, and so we will have to take some actions. So for we have to take actions in order to realize our sambandha. We have to attain our sambandha. Attain sambandha is with the car. So in order to get that car, make that car my own that car ultimately, I need to take some actions. So those actions are called abhidheya. So abhidheya means actions taken to realize my sambandha. And what is the prayojana? Prayojana is ultimately prayojana is
objective.
realizing final objective for which I have put in all this effort. I have done a lot of research to identify the object of my relationship. I don't want to be cheated there. I don't want to be make a mistake there, and then I put in a lot of endeavor. To actually own that car, and now I want to realize my ultimate objective, that is the prayojana, for which I did all this magajmari. And that is to see, for somebody better person, a sattvic person, it could be to fulfill his self dream, for his family enjoyment, or for his own enjoyment, or for somebody, as we saw in the car advertisement, for making their neighbors jealous. They probably, so this is the ultimate provision, whatever be it. You want to realize it. Now you want to, in the material world, that provision may last for a few minutes, and you never know, the neighbor may come back with another bigger car, and then that time you may feel jealous instead of he feeling jealous. And that's the nature of happiness in material world. But ultimately we want to realize prayojana. A prayojana is whatever is the ultimate objective with which we set out in this journey of endeavored so much for getting this object. So every endeavor of ours, whatever we are doing, wherever we are doing, has these three components. If a boy wants to go to engineering, wants to do study in the IIT, there is the object, because he wants to get that IIT engineering degree. And then there is an endeavor, there are actions. So he put in a lot of effort, lot of study, a lot in entrance, then after that gets into probably the college of his choice and study extremely hard. So there are actions. And also at the end of it, he gets the degree. Now the degree could be a tool using which he wished to maybe go abroad and earn a lot of money, or live a life of prosperity. That could be the ultimate prayojana. So here the sambandha is with the degree. The abhidheya is all the efforts that he's putting in. And prayojana is to go abroad, settle down in United States or America, or somewhere in other England or Australia, and live a life with lots of comforts and lots of cars and big home and all that, whatever the opulence that one may have desired to enjoy life in that way. So that's the prayojana. So that is there in every endeavor. Sometimes it's known to us. Sometimes it's in our background. It's not crystallized for us. It's not written down every time. But all our efforts have these three components, these three elements. And let's now see what's their relevance in the study of Bhagavad-Gita. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the science which discusses the relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Sambandha Jnana, or knowledge of the relationship. So Bhagavad-Gita talks about this predominantly and very elaborately in very detailed manner. This is taken from the purport of one of the verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Prabhupada elaborate on this topic, that the relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Lord, that's the Sambandha Jnana that's available in Bhagavad Gita. Everywhere it is there, and we will see how and where it can, how we can identify it. The knowledge which describes how one can act in his relationship, knowing that you are related to Supreme Lord, knowing that you are a soul, Supreme Lord is a super soul or a supreme soul. Now this knowledge is required but not sufficient. Why? Because you need to act in this knowledge in order to realize this relationship, in order to achieve the final objective of being happy in this relationship. So one has to take actions. Those actions are called abhidheya. Abhidheya, so sambandha Krishna, abhidheya bhakti. Bhakti, the process of devotional service that we perform, is called abhidheya, and that knowledge is also available in Bhagavad Gita. The relationship of the living entity with the Supreme Lord is described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Jivera Swarupahaya Krishna Nitya Dasa. The living entity is an eternal servant of Krishna, the Supreme God. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 20, verse 108. Therefore, to act in that relationship, one must perform sadhana bhakti or prescribed duties of service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called abhidheya jnana. The knowledge that describes the result of such devotional service is called prayojana jnana. So the ultimate goal of life is to attain Krishna prema and go back to Godhead. Very clear. Prabhupada makes no I think this is as direct as it can get, probably, that this is what you have to do. This is what you have to, this is your goal. This is your process. And this is the ultimate goal, ultimate benefit that we all should aspire or desire to attain. This is as clear as this. And Prabhupada has, without mincing with words, without juggling with words or concepts or creating any jargons. He is talking so direct that read this page and your life can be perfect if you can get convinced about this. So if one adheres to the regulatory principles under the order of spiritual master, he very easily achieves the ultimate goal of his life. A person who is addicted to the chanting of the holy name of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra very easily gets the opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. How? By visiting, by going to the Dhama Paramam Mama, by going to the Dham of Krishna. By doing this, he can easily get opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord directly. We'll look at first verse in this series of 4 verses. So the 4 verses are from 10.08, 9, 10, and 11. We'll probably be able to complete one verse today. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. One of the most frequently quoted verse, one of the most beautiful verse. All these 4 verses are so beautiful that that hopefully you'll all relish it as much as as much as all the spirit, all the devotees have been relishing it. Prabhupada has been quoting these verses in many of his lectures. All the great acharyas also, all the great speakers in ISKCON, they quote these verses very frequently. So engrossed, so beautiful verses they are. So we'll look at the translation. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So a lot to unpack from this word, this particular verse. This contains so much information, and we'll try and break this verse into the 3 concepts that we just spoke about. We spoke about sambandha, abhidheya, and prayojana. Sambandha, we've understood that a relationship to be the object of relationship. Abhideya is a process that we wish to follow, we need to follow to attain that object. Prayojana is the ultimate goal that we wish to achieve. So in this particular verse, all the three concepts are talked about. How? Let us see. The aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Know how great Krishna is and develop a desire to attain him. Aham sarvasya prabhavo. So what Krishna is saying here, that everything, the I am the source of all spiritual and material world. So he's talking about his opulence, that he has created the spiritual world as well as the material world. He is the source, and that is his opulence. That makes Krishna great. That makes Krishna supreme. That's the supremacy he's speaking about, describing about his own supremacy in his own by his words. So he becomes the object of desire, because anybody who has so much supremacy naturally becomes attractive, and obviously we wish to he attract attention of all the souls. That's very natural, and hence soul wish to have a relationship with that object. What is the abhideya part of it? Follow the process of bhakti or devotional service to Krishna to attain him. Iti matva bhajante mam. Bhajante has been described multiple times. That's especially the 6.47 verse, where Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam samayukto tamamataha. So shraddhavan bhajate, there we have used the same word, bhajante. So bhajante, and that Prabhupada, Krishna has spoken multiple verses. Satata kirtayanto mam, anantaschintayanto mam. There are many verses in which he has spoken about the concept of bhajante, of how one should worship him. Lastly, 9th chapter, the manmana bhava madbhakto. That's also very clearly telling us what should we do, how should we bhajante him, how should we worship him. And abhideya, that's the abhideya jnana. And then the prayojana is buddha bhava samanvitaha. Buddha means become enlightened and attain the prema bhakti of Krishna. Bhava bhakti, bhava comes from heart, so it becomes a matter of heart. It's not a ritualistic worship that Krishna wants us to offer, but he wants us to make it a matter of heart. And when the heart is involved, that is prayojana, that is a prema bhakti is attained, and bhava samanvitaha. So that way the worship to be performed with heart, with prema, with love of Godhead, and that way ultimately the God has to be attained, but the ultimate prayojana is to attain the bhakti. Before that, we'll just take a step back a little bit. In the previous chapter, previous class session, also we looked at this couple of verses. We'll take a quick look at this and then we'll move forward. So, Maharshaya sapte purve chatvaro manavasthatha madbhava manasa jata yesha loka imaha prajaha. So, Krishna has been speaking in this series of verses about how he is the origin, how he says in one of the second previous verse last session we discussed. Krishna says that he is born, nobody knows him, even the devatas and rishis, right? Rishis cannot know him, because he has been there even when none of them were there. So he is the original person, he is the Adi Purush. When he was there, nobody was there, and everyone has come from him. So nobody can know him in perfection, because they are all younger to him, they are all smaller than him, and they all have been created by him. So they can know him only when he manifests himself to them. So here the same discussion has been taken forward, and Prabhupada, Krishna says that even the 7 great sages, before them the 4 great Kumaras, the 4 other great sages, Chatvaro are the 4 Kumaras, and the Manus, the progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, and all the living beings populating the various planets also descends from them. So Krishna is giving here a clear concept that he is the original Purush. He is the original Purush, and everyone in the previous verse, again, the Krishna has already clarified that even the devatas come from him. The Saptarshis, now here is talking about the Saptarshis, the four Kumaras, and then Prabhupada elaborates in the purport that the Lord is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And from Brahma, all the seven great sages, and before them, the four great sages named Sanaka, Sanatana, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanata Kumar. And the 14 Manus are manifested. All these 25 great sages are known as the Patrichas of the living entities all over the universe. So these are the origins. So Krishna originally was alone. He then expanded himself into Balramji. From Balramji, Sankarshan, the first Chaturvyuha got manifested. Then Narayan came. Then second Chaturvyuha was manifested. Then Karanadakshay Vishnu came. Then Garbhodakshay Vishnu came. Then Kshirodakshay Vishnu came, and then all the jivas were manifested from Karanadakshay Vishnu's body. The universes were manifested, and then the Garbhodakshay Vishnu entered into each of those universes, and then all the souls were given bodies, and then Kshirodakshay Vishnu appeared in each of those bodies and started moving. That's the process of creation. That's how all it had started. Never started out of a bang. This is the bang, if one may want to call it a bang, but this was when the process started. We'll take a step back now. One of the first part of this is to understand how great Krishna is. So focus of our today's discussion from now on will be to understand about the greatness of Krishna, because we want the object to be there. We want to have a proper object of our relationship. We don't want to make a mistake in that. And we don't want to invest our time, money, effort, and our life on an object which is not worthy. Hence, we need to be absolutely clear. So in our example, we saw the car, but we didn't stop with that. We just went to the showroom and we heard from the salesman about all the features that car had, and then only we made up our mind, and then the desire became urge. So we need to do slightly more due diligence, if I may say so, and before we can actually arrive, and that the Krishna is that desirable object, the most desirable object for us to pursue in this particular life. This is so we'll take an example, and we've heard many verses, and we'll go through some of those verses of Bhagavad-Gita to understand this point in more deeply. But before that, let's take an example. Let's take a step back and understand, does Krishna play any role in our life at all? Now, take an example of this particular example we'll talk about, that we wish to travel from place A to place B. I've taken Mumbai to Delhi, but you can pick up any destination where there's an airport. So now this is our fruit. Now this is our endeavor. What we want to do is to understand what are the things that we must do, what are the things that Krishna must sanction for us to realize this fruit. What is our fruit? Our fruit is to reach Delhi by air, by traveling by aircraft. And for that, we need to do certain things on our own, and we need to have certain things happening to us by Krishna's sanction. Now we want to understand clear bifurcation between the two.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad pranam.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, so Prabhuji, as you mentioned that the question is bifurcated between two things, that what is to be done by on our part and what is to be sanctioned by Krishna in this particular example. So there are the things like planning our journey to booking the tickets for it. Some part of it though, the booking the tickets and making the planning or packing our baggages, all this is what can be done by us, and traveling to particular.
So Prabhuji, let's go to others so that we can hear from more.
Hare Krishna. Right, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So let's raise hands. Or please participate because this is very important concept. We need to clearly know what we can do, what we need sanction for. So Vinod Prabhu, you also need not answer. Others can answer.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare
And
Krishna.
you need not answer through this exercise. Later you can. Yes,
I
please raise
know. That's
hands.
why I was quiet.
Yes, Chetan Prabhu.
Number one thing we should require is the desire to go.
Perfect. Next, somebody else. So please keep your microphones handy. We want to make it as participative as possible, but we want to make it very quick. Desire to go, that's right. Anybody else? Sainath Prabhu.
What Supreme God can do is that no unforeseen event should happen while traveling.
No
from,
unforeseen event should happen. Okay, Chetan
while
Prabhu,
traveling
yes.
from
One
Mumbai
more.
to Delhi.
Okay.
Purpose should be there.
Okay, purpose should be clear. Please, everyone, please have Mukesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
प्रभु जी जैसे कि है ना अन्य प्रभु जी ने बताया कि किस प्रकार से अगर हमें जाना है तो सबसे पहले डिजायर होनी चाहिए, अरेंजमेंट होना चाहिए कि हम टिकट बुक करें, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली जो है सेंसन इस बात की होनी चाहिए कृष्णा के पास कि इन्वायरमेंट वैसा हो, प्रकृति हमारा साथ दे, कि वैसा कहीं मौसम खराब ना हो जाए। तो अगर हमारे ऊपर कृष्ण जानते हैं कि हमारे लिए क्या सही है क्या गलत है, तो उसके अनुसार वो सेंसन कर सकते हैं।
Okay, so uncontrolled things should be in our favor for us to be able to reach Delhi safely. Okay. Okay, we'll quickly go.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
I think-
Swapnil.
Prabhuji, most important is what mode we select to reach our destination. Is it just thinking or we go by different mode, and what mode will take us to the right destination, what we desire? So for me, like bhakti is the important mode to reach to our ultimate goal. So in any of the travel, I think mode of transport is very important
Mode of
to reach
transport.
to the right destination.
Yeah, but here we have assuming we have selected for our example, air is the mode of transport. Umesh Haribol, can you please log in with your name, Prabhuji? So that please you're unmuted, so you can contribute.
और किसके साथ जाना है वो भी ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है।
किसके साथ जाना है? Okay.
Harish Prabhuji here.
Yes, Prabhuji.
First and foremost thing is, one is the intention, second is the action. I think we have to get up from our place and start acting in that direction. Means
It's a very
take
important
step.
point. Yes,
Take
we
a
need
step.
to take step also toward realizing our objective. So booking ticket might not be enough. We need to go to the airport also. Okay, I think we'll go back to the slides and we will quickly take a look at what I have thought of, that these are important actions. So what we must do, what Krishna must sanction. So what we, as rightly put by many of you, we must have a desire to travel. We must have a desire to go to Delhi. Then we must purchase a valid ticket. We must arrange for funds to purchase a valid ticket. Purchase the ticket, we need money. So we should have probably arranged for the money. We must reach our destination on the date of journey. Because if our date of journey, if we misread it or misunderstand it, we may go next day and we may not be allowed to travel. Also the time, we might have a book for a 5 a.m. flight and we may go there at 5 p.m. and we might not be allowed to fly. So that's not done. So we must reach the airport. These are our endeavors. If these are not done, then no matter what other things happen, we will not be able to get our fruit of our actions. So we must complete the security checks after reaching airport. We shouldn't just do dilly-dally. We just need to rush through whatever the procedures are which are prescribed from airport to airport, different. But whatever, we must do all that and make ourselves available at the boarding gate whenever the boarding starts, to be boarded by the crew members. Now, this is what our part is. Now, our part, what we have to do is required, but it is not sufficient for us to go to Delhi. Why? Because our portion is in our control, and that we must do. If we fail to do any one of these things, we will, there is no way we can go to Delhi. We cannot be, and we will have ourselves to be blamed for that. But there are things that Krishna has to sanction also. As again, rightly put by all of you, I've listed 4 or 5 things here. But so the airline staff should not be on strike, should be available at the airport for us to facilitate boarding. And the whole thing should be functional. The whole system should be functional. The flight must arrive from whichever destination it's was supposed to come and be available for us to take to the new destination. All the systems at airport should be functional. Everything should be operational, the ATS, and there are so many things which make sure that an aircraft actually takes off and reaches the destination. There is no other threat to the departure or at the arrival airport. Threats could be human threats. The bomb threat could be the terrorist attack, could be flood, could be cyclone. Probably especially the eastern side, we have frequent cyclones that hits that coast. And so you having done the left side, everything on the left side, you will still not be able to complete your journey or go get your fruit if any one of the things which are there on the right hand side does not happen properly, does not happen favorably to you. The aircraft technically should be sound and fit for the journey. Again, if you ask Vinod Prabhu to elaborate, I think he can speak for 1 hour about it, but we'll not get into that. But all of these things should happen for us to be able to reach the destination. Mostly we are blinded to this side, to the right hand side. We probably are we are carefully taking care of our left hand side, but we are blinded generally to the right hand side. Why? Because probably we hope that having done our left hand side, the right hand side should happen automatically, should happen favorably and automatically, both. Because why automatically? Because we actually have no control over any of those. Whatever the points that were mentioned on the right hand side, none of us have any control, and hence, even if any one of these things were to go wrong, we probably are helpless. We just can do nothing about it. So we just have to hope that they all work favorably in your favor. Otherwise, if any one of these things going wrong, you probably will have to go back to your home. Instead of going to Delhi, you will probably pack your bag and go to home. So this is the condition of us. And so any endeavor we make, we have this left hand side, we have right hand side. The right hand side might not be always very clear to us. Like we've taken this example just to elaborate and to make it very clear that there are so many things which we don't even know, which we don't even think about, are happening correctly for us to attain our fruit, ultimately desire, to fulfill our desire, whatever we have. So here in this case, we're going to Delhi, reaching Delhi at particular time. If that is my desire, for that to come true, there are things on the left hand side that I must do. Now this is required but not sufficient. What happens when my desire get fulfilled is when the things on the right hand side also happens in parallel. And for that, none of those things I can do influence, I can have any control. I don't even have greater visibility also to a lot of those things. But I understand now that all those things actually exist. Let's take a look at this a little bit more. That as we can see, doing our part is necessary but not sufficient. We said that, so we'll just repeating it. What is our desire is to go from Mumbai to Delhi. For that, doing left hand side is necessary, but it is not sufficient. The right hand side also has to happen to us in the parallel. So we may do our part perfectly, but still, if right hand side does not happen, then we are a failure. So we also understand by now, when we look back at our air journeys that we would have undertaken, we can imagine that the right hand side does not happen automatically. We think it all happens automatically, but these are done by some people. Someone is actually taking care of a lot of those things. The there is no terrorist threat because police and the IB and the CBI and other security agencies are doing their job properly. The airport, the the aircraft does not become malfunctional or is worthy of flight, or is can undertake the flight, because the maintenance staff is taking care of that aircraft from time to time, and they're spending a lot of time and effort and money in maintaining the aircraft. There is a system, all the systems which are there in the airport, they work, they are functional because somebody is taking care of those from time to time, doing the maintenance, doing the all the necessary updates from time to time. Hence the system remain functional. Not that automatically, when I come to the airport, for me it all should happen automatically, but in the back end, now I know, when I look back at my air journeys, I know that all those things were taken care of by someone. They didn't happen automatically. So this is now this air journey is a clear example which where we can actually write down left hand side and right hand side very clearly, and we clearly understand that the right hand side is actually not in our control, and we are helpless if any one of those things to go wrong. But in all our endeavors, the right hand side might not be very clear to us. We may not have full visibility to it. We may not even be full awareness of it, also might not be there. And then we might actually struggle. We may think that the left hand side is the only side that exists. We can get into that conception. And if left hand side happens and you get success, you think it's your own success. If left hand side happens and if you don't get success, you think it's your failure. You become the failure. By not knowing the right hand side that exists and that is operational, we create a big mess for ourselves. Either we become proud or we become depressed, and in either case, we are in a mess. We just create a big chaos for ourselves just by not being aware of the right hand side. So now right hand side is where Krishna in Bhagavad-Gita has been telling every now and then in the first 9 chapters that he is the one who is handling the right hand side for everyone. So whatever be your endeavor, my endeavor is from going from my home in Villeparle east to Juhu temple, which is say 4 kilometers away, shortest distance. Now from this endeavor also, there are things which I need to do. There are things that Krishna has to sanction. And anyone, and if there is no sanction from Krishna, no matter if it is 4 kilometer or 4 seconds away, I cannot go there. Now let's take a look at bring it to the perspective of Bhagavad Gita. Know how great Krishna is. That is going to be the theme for the rest of our discussion. And what we'll do is 2 things. So the three things are important for us. The 3 things which are important to us. I have just bifurcated them for understanding and for discussion purpose into the 3 broad buckets. The first is our birth or our creation in general. Second is maintenance and subsistence. Subsistence is from the moment we are born till we die, we do actions. We do a lot of things. We are small, that time we do certain things. We become young, we do certain things. We become, we have family, we do certain things. We become old, we do certain other things. But we are always busy in doing. And for doing those things, we need a lot of things. And hence, we will take a look at this aspect, the maintenance aspect, subsistence aspect, the death or the destruction. That's the final thing. Now there are, what we need to look at are the left-hand side and right-hand side concept we need to keep in mind. And we are going to take a look at some of the verses from Bhagavad-Gita. And we need to classify them, which bucket they fall into. So the 3 buckets that we are identifying ourselves is with the creation, that is C, maintenance, that is M, and destruction or death, that is D. So what are we going to do is we are going to we will look at some translations from some of the verses of Bhagavad Gita, and then we need to see what Krishna is saying here. Now, it is very clear that Krishna is talking about not about our part. What is our part? So we are not discussing left hand side. We are only discussing the right hand side, and that right hand side now we are sub-classifying it under these three broad classifications. So that because these three things are important to us, so what we will do is now onwards we will keep it open. Please feel free to unmute and speak, because if we'll keep raising hand, we'll have to quickly move. We have a lot of verses to cover. What we need to discuss is where it falls and why. Each verse we will be taking a look at each verse, one verse at a time. What we need to do is we need to read the translation of that verse, and we need to tell us, you need to tell us that where this falls in the maintenance bucket or subsistence bucket, or death or destruction bucket, or all the three buckets. Some of the verses could be fall in all the three. They may have elements from all the three buckets. So these are all actions which Krishna is doing, Krishna is sanctioning. So there is nothing that for us to intervene, or there's no role of us. We just have to watch it helplessly. And if Krishna does it, and we just are helpless. But we need to understand Krishna's greatness, Krishna's favors to us, how great Krishna is. It is important for us to learn these things and fully convince ourselves that without Krishna doing the right hand side in the previous example, there is no way we can reach Delhi. So taking the same example forward, without Krishna doing things on his right hand side, on our right hand side, as we will look at from this moment onwards, it is impossible even for us to take birth. Even it is impossible for us to even subsist or maintain ourselves, and it is difficult for us to die also properly. So none of these three important, any one of these three important activities, all the three important activities are important, critical for us, because this is where our existence is from this moment to this moment, and whatever happens in between. We don't have any remembrance of prior to our birth, and neither we are likely to have remembrance of what happens to us after our death, because the soul will remember, but we will not have material body, so we will have no memories. When we will get next body, those memories will be erased. So these are the points, the 3 points that we are bifurcated of our lifespan into: the birth, the subsistence, and the destruction. And we need to take a look at, read each verse and tell where Krishna is contributing and how important it is. Okay, is everyone ready? Please feel free to unmute yourself and speak. And I request everyone to participate. And let's keep that condition that only one person can give one answer, and then we have to just move on. Even if your answer is wrong, it's okay. But let's participate. Let's hear from everyone today. I'll read the translation. You can all read along with me. Now you need to do classification as CMD, as we may call it. C is creation, M is maintenance, and D is death or destruction. C can be birth or creation, whatever. Now, O son of Pratha, now this is 3.22nd verse. O son of Pratha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. Verse 3.22.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. M.
What is that? Maintenance. So
Maintenance.
why Krishna Mataji M?
Because the last line, it is saying that I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Okay,
Still,
so
I think,
sorry, go ahead. Yeah, please complete. No.
Yes, I mean Krishna here. Krishna is saying that he yet how can sorry Prabhuji, I'm unable to explain it.
Okay.
But I'll go with M.
Okay, fine. So M. Anybody wants to explain the reason for M?
Prabhuji, I also agree
Yes,
it is
Prabhuji.
M.
M. Okay. So prescribed duties is what we have to perform during our lifespan. And Krishna is saying that I perform prescribed duty wherever I appear. So this is third chapter where Krishna says that yad yad acharati sreshthas, and then this couple of verses comes, and then Krishna is saying that I even I perform prescribed duties. So what to speak of living entities? They are all obliged to prescribe. They must perform their prescribed duties. And second chapter 33rd verse says that if you fail to perform your prescribed duties, then that is sinful. Then you will be that's sinful. So the prescribed duties, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prescribed, that what are the prescribed duties? Principal prescribed duty is Jivera Swarupahaya Nitya Krishna Dasa. So to love and serve Krishna is the principal duty. And then there are secondary duties which are at the bodily level. So, so if you are not at that first level, if you are not aware of the first level, then second level you have to do all the duties. That's very taxing, and because you will fail to do all those duties always, so that becomes sinful also. So hence it's important for us to be in the first principal duties. We need to take care of our principal duties first, then secondary duties to the extent we can. That's a clear choice Krishna has given. Wherever there is a dispute or the weightage has to be given, it has to be given to the principal duties. That is the Jivera Swarupahaya Nitya Krishna Das. Go to the next verse. This is 4.6th verse. Although I am unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form.
Prabhuji, may I answer?
Yeah, Prabhuji.
Creation.
This will be B, creation.
This is creation. Okay.
Creation.
Okay, this can also be M, because living entities will perform devotional service. So the Lord of all living entities. So if living entities know during their lifespan that he is the Lord of all living entities, they will worship him. And he is the Lord of all living entities, because people need an object of worship during their lifespan also. So to that extent, it can also fit in the middle bracket, that is M. But yes,
understood.
It talks about the creation, his own creation, and to that extent, it can become C as well. We'll move to the
Understand, Prabhuji.
next verse. We have lot. Please keep your microphones on. No need to mute them. Yes, according to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me. Although I am the creator of this system, you should know I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. 4.13.
C, Prabhuji, C. Creation.
Creation.
Yes.
Okay. All agree?
Prabhuji, I think Prabhuji model here, I think it is C and M both.
C and M both.
Yeah,
okay.
I also think this is C and M.
Yeah, please give reasons. Why C, why M?
C, because definitely as it's written that he is the creator of all the four divisions. And why M? Because you should know that I'm yet a non-doer. Though he's a non-doer, that he's being unchangeable. So which means he's always there at any point of time.
From our perspective, what's critical in this case? From the living entities standpoint, so this verse as in Sanskrit goes like this: the Chaturvarnya Maya Srishti Guna Karma Vibhagashaya. So according to the Guna Karma Vibhagashaya means according to the gunas, I have created this four division Chaturvarnya. Chaturvarna, which are those Chaturvarna? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. So this is the division that Krishna says, I have created this division based on the three modes of material nature that each soul are associated with. Right. So to that extent, you're right. To that extent, it is C, because from Jiva's point of view, whether the choice is not to the Jiva. Whether I am born in a Brahmana family or a Shudra family, I have not, it's not that the Jiva or the soul has pressed some button before it was before it was pushed into the womb of a mother, and based on that button that they have pressed, they've been either given a Brahmana birth or a Shudra birth. So this is decided. Krishna is telling us that it is he who decides this, because and how it's not hypothetical or it's not it's not random. He doesn't ये सोल अच्छा दिख रहा है, इसको यहाँ भेज दो, इसको यहाँ भेज दो, and is not so good. This soul has done a lot of bad things, whatever. Now there is a method that he follows. It's not completely, it's not random, or it's not hypothetical. It is, there is a system, there is no madness in it. So Krishna, and this is the reason that Krishna gives, that based on the guna and karma, that is associated with each soul, it is he who decides who should born where. So everything is, so it's a creation, to that extent it's a creation. The work can be more classified as creation, that Krishna is the responsible for us being born in the family where I'm born today, and my children are also born because of Krishna. That's Krishna's responsibility. It is Krishna's sanction with which this has happened. Neither I as a parent has chosen a soul, neither that my child has chosen to us as a parent. So it is Krishna who decides, and that's equally true for those who are born on the streets. It is Krishna who's responsible for that birth also. So
Prabhuji,
yes, Rajan.
Prabhuji, from Krishna's point of view, it can be also M, because Krishna uses this classification to maintain in a judicious way.
Yes, from Krishna's perspective, this can be M, because he has to maintain the system of the material world management. He's taken up that responsibility, so he manages that responsibility. So there is an action that he has to perform whenever a soul has to be given birth to. Now he personally doesn't perform, but we will later on see that Maya Dhyakshan Prakriti, that verse will also come. There he gets it outsourced to Maya Devi, and she performs on behalf of Krishna. But that's true.
Prabhuji,
To that extent, this will be a M also. Yes.
Prabhuji, can I ask one question here? Not a question. Can you explain more on this third verse, what it says? And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer.
Yeah. So non-doer,
unchangeable.
yes, non-doer is he's not involved in the creation. He does not send me in this home because he's udasina vadasina. Maybe that will explain the non-doer part. He's doing it as a being remaining indifferent to each soul. So when a soul is born on the street to a woman who is a beggar, who doesn't know from where her next meal is going to come, probably have the only pair of clothes. Now Krishna is not taking any revenge on that soul to give birth there. Neither Krishna is doing any favor to a soul who is born in a palace with with 5 properties and millions of dollars in his bank account. Now both souls are given birth. They both are given birth under a system which works. It's not that so that to that extent he's a non-doer, though he's doing it, but he's a non-doer. Just say judge is writing a sentence, a death sentence to somebody and a reward sentence for someone. Now death, he's udasin, because based on the evidence that's available, based on how the case was presented, he's writing his judgment. Now judge is, so Krishna is acting like a judge in this case. So to that extent, though he's a doer, he's a non-doer. So though by judge's order a person may get hanged and die, but judge is a non-doer. Judge doesn't get punished for that.
Prabhuji, Krishna is impartial, and whatever severities we are getting is because of our past karmas. It's like that.
Correct. That's correct. That way also you can say it's impartial or udasina, vadasina. We'll see that verse also.
Prabhu, just as one the third verse, does it also mean that we all are important and we are part of his master plan or his creation, but still we have our own karmas, and that's where Lord Krishna says that he's a non-doer? Am I
we are operated under his sanction. So, but is that his desire? The desire is no. So there is a difference in what is Krishna's desire and what is Krishna's sanction. So when we say Krishna willing, we make it mention it as if Krishna sanctioning. Krishna willing, Vikas Prabhu say every morning, Krishna willing, we will chant tomorrow also. What it means is Krishna sanctioning. If Krishna's sanction is not there, Krishna is willing or is not desiring. So Krishna's desire is that all soul should return back to him and stay with him happily, not try to enjoy his property without Krishna in the material world. That is not his desire. His desire is everybody should come back to him. But he has to sanction hard sentences also based on the misuse of free will that each soul has done. At times he will end up giving punishments to those souls also, and that child who is taking birth on the street is kind of suffering their bad karma in past. So to that extent, Krishna, it's not his desire to make that child suffer, but it's his sanction, because the system is created by him. The free will is given by him. And the whole process is just like a king may create a system that if you jump a signal, you will be fined, you will pay a fine of 500 rupees. Now is it his desire that everybody should jump signal and he collect a lot of money from people? No, but he want people to follow discipline. And if at all somebody is indisciplined, he should create a deterrent by making him pay a fine, a penalty, so that from next time onwards he should be careful. Now, if somebody who is paying the penalty feeling the pinch because he's suffering, oh, I have to pay 500 rupees, the police is there, everybody is looking at me, I jumped the signal, but he had a free will of not jumping the signal also, but he misused his free will, he jumped the signal, he got caught, and he is now paying the fine. Now it is as simple as that. If you extrapolate this to our world and look around the misery that we see in the world, this is what the misery is all about. Can we do anything about people who are suffering? Little bit, yes, but given our limited capacity, we should not be overly worried about those. We should be, even if at all we have to worry how we can engage them in serving Krishna, because following rules in this world is required but not sufficient for us to go back to Krishna. We have to change our attitude from just follower of a rule to a lover of Krishna, and love and serve Krishna in such a way that we cultivate his remembrance, and thereby at the end of our life we go back to Krishna. And then that's the whole program, that's the whole program for which this world is created. So it's not Krishna's desire, but it is his sanction, and he's forced to do that because the rule is created by him. Okay.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, we'll come back to the question answer later, but we'll go through other verses also. So this is 5.29th verse, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasa Sarvaloka Maheshwara. So a person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Anyone who has not answered so far, please try.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Vikas Prabhu.
It can go for the CMD part, all part, Prabhuji, because here Krishna tells that I am the benefactor, means I am the all in all. Like where he is telling that I am the supreme lord of all planets. So everything, all the activities going on the all planets, whether be it creation, be it the routine activities of that particular planet, be it destruction of the planet, I am the supreme lord of that, and everything is done by me. Though primarily Krishna focuses here on that I am the benefactor of all activities. I'm the best friend of all living entities. So the welfare part or the maintenance part I'm taking care of. But it can fit in the all aspects also, Prabhuji.
Any predominant part that you see in this?
Predominant part is M, Prabhuji.
M,
that is
maintenance?
Yes.
Management, maintenance.
That
okay.
I'm the benefactor of all living entities.
So Yajna Tapasa, if you say austerities and sacrifices, austerities that people will perform, and he is the ultimate enjoyer of whoever perform. Yes, whoever perform whichever sacrifice, wherever it could be anywhere. He says, they ultimately come to me. No demigod, even if whichever tree you offer water to. Now, it's not that the tree is, or whichever devata you are offering your services or austerities, or you are walking from 25 miles to reach a temple, whatever austerities that you are performing, they ultimately, he says, come to me. So he's the ultimate enjoyer of all those sacrifices and austerities, whichever fast you may keep, right? Whatever the raid you see in the calendar, you fast on that day, and whatever the austerities, whoever perform. And but they, some comes directly, some comes indirectly, but everything comes to him. That's what he's saying here. And this is what people will be doing throughout their life, because there will be people who will be performing certain austerities. There will be people in the mode of goodness, or even in the mode of passion, that who want super success, but they want to make sure that everybody is managed well. And if there is God exists, let him be happy. So by he will also do some little charity, so that if at all God exists, let him be happy. Let him not, create any disturbances in my business. So a mode of person may also, mode of person in the mode of passion may also do some donation, so some charity. So or perform some austerities, perform some yajna, perform some havan. So everybody can be engaged throughout their life in doing this. So predominantly, I believe this can be maintenance or subsistence. Agree all?
Agree, 100% agree. Because the important verse, first sentence, a person in full conscious of me. So consciousness is basically a process of maintenance.
Prabhuji,
Okay.
I want to tell, Prabhuji,
Yes,
I
Anand.
want to tell something, that the austerities and penances that are being done by the devotees, the action of that is being enjoyed by Lord Krishna. So there is a word action coming in between the result of the austerities. The action of that is Lord Krishna is enjoying all, is the fruitive results.
No, what is the question, Raji?
No, it falls in M category. No?
M category. Okay, okay.
M
So you're
category.
saying,
So that is why I'm saying action of the austerities is
Mhm.
being enjoyed by Lord Krishna.
Okay, understood. Okay, yeah, that's true.
It comes in M category.
M category.
Only
Yeah,
M
we are.
category.
Yes, M is a suitable category. Yes. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitutes my separated material energies. 7.4. Anyone who has not answered so far?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, it should be M.
M, okay. Yeah, can you explain?
Basically, all these resources which God has given to humankind, basically earth, water, fire, air, it's meant for maintaining his life and using it during his survival in the world. And in the process, it is also creating false ego and
So we should add, Haresh Prabhu, we should add oil also here, isn't it? Crude oil. So, Haresh Prabhu, so that's very
Prabhuji,
rightly said.
Creator creation is also correct.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Vinod.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, I hear some more voice. Roshni, you want to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Roshni, you want to
Prabhuji,
jump? You all need to jump into this conversation, okay? Don't
Okay.
just be quiet. Okay,
Prabhuji.
yeah, please go ahead.
Prabhuji, it falls in C category also because all these
C
things are
category also.
created by Krishna only.
Constituent. Yes.
Okay.
Prabhuji, it is a constituent of a human body. Earth, water, air, fire, mind, false ego. So these
That's
are
a nice
constituents of
explanation as well. I accept it that C and M both
C and M.
are equally. Yeah. Anybody else wants to say anything on
Hare
this?
Krishna Prabhuji. I thought it's actually all the 3 categories, because when we say Panch Mahatattva, we are actually starting right from creation to death. So that includes all the 3 categories. I mean,
All the
according
3
to the,
categories.
yeah, because it's
Okay.
Panch Mahatattva.
So when we leave our body, the acquire whatever we have acquired from
We
these
go back,
elements, we
right?
return it back to
Yeah, it's just the
that extent. It
ecosystem.
can be C as well, the D as well.
Here, false ego also is being mentioned. So how do we?
False ego and mind mind intelligence, false ego travel with soul. So that's called subtle body. They immediately don't get merged into the substance, but the material, because they are non-matter. So what gets merged with the material world are the 5 elements which are separated out of these 8. The mind, intelligence, false ego travel with the soul, and when soul finally goes to the spiritual world, that time these 3 elements are absorbed by the prakriti. So they are so that time they get, and then the soul goes to back to the spiritual world in the pure form. So till then we carry this with us.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhuji. Initially, I couldn't add to the conversation because I was just doing some work for my father. I wanted to add was every soul is a separate entity. When in the previous verse, there was a mention that God is, though He is the creator, He is not involved anywhere. I wanted to add that every soul is a separate entity by itself. So it's the responsibility of each soul of how they live in this material world, and how they themselves have that free will. So that free will and individual entity, I think they both go together.
You're right. Yes, each individual entity is soul is an individual entity, and each soul is given free will. And using or misusing that free will, soul act in the world. For each action, there are reactions. When those reactions are accumulated according and wherever they fructify, so each just like every action relates to a reaction, the reaction is a fruit. That's what we call, and whenever it is to be fructified, it either results in a positive or a negative uh, reaction for us. So either we enjoy or we suffer out of those. And this is sole substance of fruits to be fructified in our next life are given to us, and we have given a body suitable for those enjoyments or those sufferings. That's how the process work. But it's very important that earth, water, fire, and I think the group said that all the 3 can constitute, it can touch all the 3 components that and without this obviously there is no and this is one of the most important for our appearance, subsistence, and also destruction. In all 3 components, 3 elements, all the 3 play big part in this. All the wars are happening because of this, because not knowing that the earth belongs to whom exactly, and the fire, the water, the electricity we manufactured using these components. There are fights going on for those. So there is in general a loss of peace or a distress in the world when because we fight for these resources which originally belongs to Krishna. So let's move on.
Prabhuji,
Yeah,
just
and I
one
believe
doubt.
so.
One doubt
Yeah.
I am having. I'm not clear how it can be put under C and D, because
So when
I'm
we
not very
see,
clear.
in the sea, because we acquire these, our bodies are constituted by these components. So we, in our body, human body, are made up of earth, these
Body is
5,
constituted of earth,
earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So we have the skin, that is earth. We have water, we have fire, the digestion fire, the air, the five pancha shwas that we have, and ether that that contains. When we swallow food, it goes through the pipe into our stomach because there is gap, that ether. So that all the 5 components are there and are given to us when we are born, and those are separated from us when the body become useless and the soul give up the body. Those merge back into the material existence. So that extent, everybody said that can be D also.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, it's not a query, but it's correction on my understanding. Earth, water, fire, all 5 elements have been predominantly there into existence right from the beginning. And human evolution from Stone Age to the current superjet age is because of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So are these 3, mind, intelligence, mind, intelligence, and false ego, 3 important factors which will be predominant in current situation and in future, which will tell what is the final our destination for human race? Is it the correct interpretation?
So
by me.
so the two parts, the Stone Age to today. Now, Bhagavatam does not give this information. Now, the evolution that we spoke about, that how creation started when Lord wanted to create, he expanded and he expands and he starts creation. The Karnadakshay Vishnu sleeps in the Karna ocean, and from the pores of his body, one universe comes up as a bubble. Then he expands and enters in each of those bubble. The bubble is in a round shape. That's why it's called under. And the Garbhodakshay Vishnu enters each bubble, and he takes away with him the jivas, the living entities, the souls he carries with him. Each expansion of Garbhodakshay Vishnu carry with himself innumerable souls, and he gives them body. He starts the creation, and simultaneously everyone is created. The the reptiles are created, the birds are created, trees are created, humans are created. How? From where they stopped in the previous, at the time of annihilation. And when the annihilation happened, when the Brahma dies, at the death of Brahmaji's death, the annihilation will take place, and everything will be absorbed back into the body of Mahavishnu. And when the Brahmaji is born again, he starts the creation again. And then the Brahmaji is born. Brahmaji is born from the navel of Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and he's been given instructions. He does tapasya. He's told to create, and then he starts the creation along with the 25 children of his. Everybody is given a task to create. Some of them refuse, like 4 Kumaras, they refuse to participate. They are eternal sannyasis. They don't create. And then the creation starts, the Manu starts, and then the whole process starts. So when the creation happens, everyone is given body according to their previous, whatever the body they had held previously, and whatever the level of desires which they had, all of that, it's like paused for a moment, and after that it restarts. It restarts as if it had never stopped, and they are given. So all the bodies are created separate simultaneously. While we live on this world, there could be ups and downs that can happen. Some of the, जैसे कि कृष्ण जी बोलते हैं कि सकाले नेह महता योगो नष्टा परंतपा, that the Bhagavad-Gita knowledge was also lost in the course of time. So like that, there could have been ups and downs in the human evolution also. That after wars, after some of those evolutions, some of those so there is small portion of evolution that also happens, but predominantly Bhagavatam explains us that this is how the creation had taken place. So was there ever at all any stone age? That stone age even exists today in Andaman Nicobar Island, where people, if you go wearing shirt and pant, they will tell you are a fool. What are you wearing? You should wear tree barks, or you should not wear anything at all. So that to that extent, it's not that they missed out on the evolution. They remained in the Stone Age, but that's how everybody coexisted. Everyone coexisted. That's why it's important to learn. Now the second question is on the mind, intelligence, and false ego. Yes, these are subtle elements, and they, as I said, we don't carry our body with us, so we leave the body behind, but soul continues to enjoy the company of these three elements. Now, these three elements need to be purified. These are all subtle elements, so no detergent or no brush can work on them, and hence a mind is Krishna himself. Krishna says in Bhagavad-Gita later that amongst the indriyas, he's the mind, and the mind has to be controlled. And Krishna says, only with my name you can control my mind, because mind is not under your control. It's impossible for anybody to control the mind. Arjuna admits that he can control the wind, but it's difficult for him to control his mind. So with help from Krishna, by taking Krishna's assistance, we can
Prabhuji,
control our mind.
Lost.
Hello, you can hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So let's move on. We have a few more verses to cover. A conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as planets are strung onto a thread. 7.7.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I
Prabhuji,
answer?
it's
Yes, please go ahead.
C, creation, Prabhuji. It's M, maintenance. I'm so sorry. It's M.
Yes.
Prabhuji, it's M.
I think
maintenance.
yes,
Because
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, it's
Let
M.
her. Yeah.
it will
Nupur,
be
can you just explain?
because he's responsible for maintenance
Sainath
of
Prabhuji.
everything.
Yeah. Nupur is explaining. Just give her a minute.
Yes, Prabhuji. Because Krishna is explaining here how he maintains the world, how everything rests upon him.
Okay. Anybody else has any other thought?
Prabhuji, model here.
Yeah, Mata.
I think it is C, M, and D, all three, because he's the one who's the creator, the reason of we being born and how we live our life, as well as when we die. So it's everything is on his hands. So I think this is C, M, and D according to me. This is what I think.
CMD. Roshni, you were saying something?
Prabhuji, I think it's fall in M category because here he say that everything rests upon me and as pearls on the strings. मतलब जो मोती में धागे होते हैं वो धागा ही कृष्ण है, तो हमारा बेस ही कृष्ण है जिसकी वजह से ये पूरा वर्ल्ड फंक्शन कर रहा है. तो this falls in M category because he's maintaining all of.
So he's not spoken about maintenance very credibly, very categorically, but yes, everything rest upon me can be expanded to all the three category because and that he will elaborate, I think, in some of the subsequent verses. But I think also I'll agree with Mohan Mataji that it probably touches all the three elements because there is here the most important line is there is no truth superior to me. And everything rests upon me. So this through between these two things, I think it can surpass all the three conception of us from our perspective. Our birth is possible because of him, our maintenance is possible because of him, and our final our destination, our death is destruction is also possible because of him. And hence he is the ultimate truth. There is no truth superior to me. The Param Satya, or the absolute truth, as he's mentioned, that's this is one of the very categorical statement of Krishna, where he says that he is that absolute truth, and we should be pursuing him only. This is one very important, significant verse. This is a series of verses from 7.8 to 7.12. I'll read out, and probably the answer is slightly simpler. So Krishna here in this section, Krishna is saying that he is all this. He is the test in water. He is the light in sun and moon. He is Om in Vedic mantras. He is sound in ether. He is ability in men. He is a fragrance in earth, heat in fire. He is life maintained by soul in all living entities. He is austerity of the austere yogis. He is original earth, eternal seed of all living entities. He is intelligence of the intelligent people. He is prowess of the powerful people. He is the strength of the strong people. His sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. We can look at all put together. Let's classify them somewhere.
All put together is maintenance, Prabhuji. Means because everything is used in the day-to-day life. Means everything is useful. The provided by Krishna are useful in the day-to-day life of the living entities. So it is, if we put together, then it is maintenance.
Okay.
It will be C and M both.
Prabhuji, it C also because here it is mentioned that life manifested by the soul is all living entities.
Correct. Yeah. So if we see a predominant nature of this, these are all these things required for the activities. They all signify the actions that a living entity may take during the course of one's life. Ability in men. I have ability to speak. I'm speaking because Krishna has sanctioned this ability to me. Amitabh Bachchan can act because Krishna has sanctioned that ability to him. Lata Mangeshkar could sing because Krishna has sanctioned that particular ability to her. Similarly, anybody who we think he's successful, who is doing something significant, I am able to raise my hand because Krishna has given this ability to me. When Krishna's sanction will happen, this same ability will be taken away. We may label it with some disease. we may, we had a family friend whose relative recently left his body. He was a very talkative person, and towards the end of his life, he lost his ability to speak. So he used to feel extremely frustrated because he had been talking all his life, and he had so much to tell, but his ability was taken away. So in last few months, it was extremely painful for him, where he had to speak so much, but he just couldn't express, and nobody could bother. People said, chup raho aap. Because that's what, old man, what will they do? So that's was very frustrating experience for him. But this is ability. We all take it for granted that these are our abilities, are what we have earned. We have earned through our own, these are our own abilities. That's what we think. We don't, when we perform active actions, so the the ability to treat a patient also is sanctioned by Krishna. So when Krishna's sanction is there, patient gets cured. When Krishna's sanction is not there, patient can die. So if everything is happening with Krishna's will, Krishna's sanction. So the light in sun and moon, sun and moon are required. I mean, for our subsistence. We just cannot imagine ourselves without sun and moon. The sun gives heat and light, and moonlight gives taste in the food. And that's so critical, without which how on earth we can imagine to survive. Taste in water, we can not survive without water. I'm right now also keeping a glass of water next to me, and that taste in water, say Krishna says, I am that taste, the life manifested by the soul in all living entities. Krishna is that power of the powerful people, intelligence of the intelligent people, strength of the strong people. What is left in us, which is ours, after knowing this? And then why should we be at all proud of ourselves? What are we proud of ourselves? So it's predominantly, the theme is that of a maintenance, and these are all things given to us by Krishna, which help us live this life here and exercise our free will while we are living. So this divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. This is a famous verse. Anybody want to chant this verse? Mayam etam tarantite.
This is Prabhuji, Devi Esha Gunamayi.
Devi
Maya
Esha
Duratya.
Gunamayi. Correct. Yeah.
Ma me vi prapadyante Maya me tam tarantite.
Correct. So where will this fall?
This is regarding surpassing Maya, Prabhuji, and Maya is prevalent in all the planetary systems. So it should be the liberation part. So destruction we can, in my view, we can put in like that.
D category.
Once
Okay.
the material things are destroyed.
Yeah, but Maya Metam Tarantite has to happen during the course of one's life. So when we exercise choices, Krishna says that if you surrender to me, you can overcome. So this is very much to be done in the course of one's life. M part, yes.
In the course of M part.
In the course of one's life, we have to make right choices. We have to become a devotee. We have to be devotional. We have to surrender to Krishna. And then only Krishna says you can overcome the divine energy of mind. Mayam etam tarantite. And who is this Maya? Devi Esha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratvaya. He says this is my Maya, is working under me. Yes, Durga Devi. And so it's pretty much to be done during the course of one's life, and hence we will put it into the M category. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again and again. When Brahma's day arrives and all living entities come into being, and with arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. 8.18 and 8.19. So this is Krishna says, this is what I do. Krishna is claiming responsibility for annihilation, and this is his opulence. This is his greatness. He says, whenever Brahma's day manifest, I create, and then I maintain for some time, and when the night falls, I destroy it again. And how it happens helplessly. For others, from Jiva's point of view, they are helpless. They just helplessly watch this happening. Now also, if a cyclone come on the east shore of India, people are helpless. When tsunami came, we were just helplessly watching it. Oh, kya ho raha hai? And probably could do very little, but we're just helpless. So Krishna is describing our helplessness, how helpless we are in reality. However, when we feel so proud, when we feel so arrogant of our possessions, of our abilities, of our skills, of our talents, this is Krishna's talent. This is showing his talent to us. So I believe it will probably touch all the three elements that he's saying. He's claiming responsibility for creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So let's move on. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. And yeah, so this is again
about creation.
Creation, okay.
Because all things are in me, but I am not in them. All things are within me. That means it is inferring to creation, actually.
Inferring to creation. Everything is in me and I'm not in them, outside them. Yes, it's predominantly point towards creation, the universal creation. And when Yashoda Maya asked Krishna to open mouth, Yashoda Maya could see the whole universe inside it, and she could see herself and Krishna sitting inside him, his mouth, and Krishna was outside also. So it's a predominantly pointing towards the creation and his opulence of creation that he has. Now, somebody who has not answered so far, please take a try. We have few verses left only. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. I think this is easier.
Yes.
Destruction
Hare
and
Krishna.
creation.
And
This
Mitali, who's
this is
speaking? Yeah, please.
Mitali. Yeah, this is
Yes,
Mitali.
Mitali.
I think it is annihilation as well as creation both, because when you are said that at the end of the millennium, that means everything gets annihilated, and then we enter into the nature of nature, and when again at the beginning of another millennium, we are created. So I feel it's A and C both.
Does he mention the timing कि कभी होने वाला है? At the end of Brahma's days, but Brahma day का किसने calendar देखा है? We don't know ना. What's time Brahma? It can happen this moment also ना.
Yeah.
So we should be very humble ना.
So
what if our destruction नहीं, पूरा universe का भी destruction start हो सकता है. हमने तो time नहीं देखा, calendar नहीं देखा है वो. So we should be very humble. We should be devotee all the moment, right? At all time we should be in that devotional mood, so that anytime that destruction begins, we are in the right frame of mind and remembering Krishna and then going back to Krishna, isn't it?
Prabhuji, this verse says both about destruction and creation. So does that mean as we are in creation, we will there will be a destruction also, or this is
guaranteed? Destruction is guaranteed. And my whole point was, I was saying that when is not known, and hence we should become devotee immediately, as early as possible, and we should stay in that devotional mood all the time, because universe ka destruction nahi hoga, but our destruction is also, we don't know the time. So whenever it will happen for sure, but whenever that will happen, we should be in the devotional mood. We should remember Krishna, and hence we should try to be Krishna conscious all throughout our day and all throughout our night and all throughout our life. This is the message.
Prabhuji, that means even if there is all over goodness in this entire universe, still there will be destruction, and then there will be a new life again created.
Yes, even mode of goodness is binding. Mode of goodness is considered to be good, but it is not considered to be the best. Why? Because in the mode of goodness also you have a desire. You are in the mode of, people in the mode of goodness are bound in this material world with knowledge and happiness. Now, can you imagine a knowledge can also be a binding force? Because with this knowledge, they are unable to surrender to the Supreme Lord. With this happiness, they feel no need to go and surrender to the Lord. And hence they might be doing good actions for which they continue to get good fruits, but they remain entangled in this material world. They are unable to see the way out of this world. So to that extent, even that is considered to be unfavorable. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Oh, Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me, and I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral. This is the Udasina Vadasina verse. When Krishna is saying that he is seated neutral, what does it mean? Which actions it will touch? Where it will touch? Namrata Mataji, you want to say something? Nupur, yeah, please unmute and speak. Anyone who has not spoken so far?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is this about maintenance?
Okay. Yeah, please explain.
Because seated as to neutral. So he is actually being neutral. So I think it is about maintaining.
Yes. So when he is in neutral, he is sanctioning good and bad results to our actions. And good and bad results as we perform actions, we keep getting some fruits. हम बोलते हैं हम इतना अच्छा काम करते हैं, but फिर भी बहुत बुरा हो रहा है हमारे साथ. So he's sanctioning as a neutral, as a judge. He's sanctioning. So yes, that's definitely touches the M part of it. But his sanction go beyond just maintenance? Can it be? Can it go beyond? Can you expand this? Advait Prabhu? Yes, Vinod Prabhu.
If we look beyond this, whenever we are going beyond this life, so whatever fruits we are going to get and whatever life we are going to get out of the actions we perform, so he is sitting neutral to that, and it will be our karma which will take us to the next life as per the action we have performed in the different modes which we have operated during the life. So that is kind of also considered as a D, where we are getting seeing God as a neutral and sanctioning the things as per our karma.
Correct. So you rightly pointed out that as you expand this, whatever, if somebody is going to go to an animal, going to get an animal body in their next birth, Krishna is neutral to it. He said, because he will sanction it, and that person will actually get animal body in this next birth. And so his departure from this world and arrival in the next life, next body, both are sanctioned by Krishna also. So his sanctioning ability is actually touches all the three components. So just like his death is determined by Krishna, he's saying that in one of the later verse he will say that I am the death personified. Yeah, the 19th verse, that I am the death personified also. So so the death as well as the arrival in the new body, all three, and plus the given the fruits that he's been sanctioning all throughout the life, all the three components it touches. And it's again one of the most important verse. We are always worried why me whenever we are subjected to any yes go ahead, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, even during the maintenance part, if we have our free will, so whatever the path we have selected out of the choices given in situation, so that will take us to the particular destination where God is not sanctioning, he is just giving a free will to select the path. And certain karma or certain desire which we have asked through the sacrifices, to the praying, so those can be sanctioned by God to get through our sacrifices. So free will and sanctioning is slightly different in my opinion.
So free will is on our part, sanction is Krishna's part. Free exercise of free will is our part, and sanction is Krishna's part. So
Right,
that way, that
Prabhupada.
is our understanding. Okay. Yeah, the next verse is Mayadhyakshana Prakriti. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again.
Prabhu,
Anybody
is it
wants to? Yes, Santosh
creation
Prabhu.
and, yeah, is it creation and destruction?
I think it is
Yeah,
maintenance also.
Yeah, all three actually.
maintenance. Yes, Mita
Ah.
Mataji. Can you
Yeah,
explain why
because it
maintenance?
is saying that under my energy, under my direction, this material nature is working. So there is again some kind of a law under which it is working. So that talks about maintenance, that this is working under a certain system. So that relates to maintenance according to me.
Yes, you're right. The two are very clearly talked about, that annihilation and creation. And maintenance is the first line, that Maya Dekshana Prakriti. And the Prakriti is also involved in sanctioning. The law of karma that we all face, the results, somebody may put in a good result, good effort, and he may not get good result, and somebody may not be good in effort but may get some good results. All that is happening under the law of karma, and the law of karma is operated by Prakriti or Durga Devi, and Krishna is here highlighting that she works under his supervision, and she's not only creating and annihilating things but also maintaining them during or giving them sanction, giving them their appropriate fruits during the course of their life also. So to that extent, it will touch all the three companies. Oh Arjuna, I give heat and I withheld. I give, oh Arjuna, I give heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me.
This is again will be covering aspects, because that or the heat is the touches the mental part, and the immortality and the death personified is again the creation aspect.
Yeah. So the given of the heat is required. I give heat and withheld and send forth the rains. So if rains are not there, so Krishna saying both. I send the rain and I withhold rain also. Sometimes I don't give rain, and he's responsible for that as well. So when it rains happen, when it rains or it doesn't rain or it floods or it creates a drought, Krishna says ultimately he's responsible for that. There could be a deity who could be in charge of handling that function, but Krishna claims the ultimate responsibility for that as well. And immortality and the death personified, he's Kalosmi. So that's destruction and the maintenance aspect of both. Okay, we'll look at last section and we'll go to the question answer session. the Prabhupada in the 7th verse, just one verse before that, Krishna has created background for this verse to come, and his opulence need to be understood properly. Now we take Krishna sanction for granted in mostly those who are in Sattva Guna, those who are opulent or happy, they have so far taken Krishna. At times we all take Krishna's sanction for granted, that he is going to sanction us whatever we desire. At times we are not even aware that we need his sanction, and we could be in the multiple stages there. So I'll just mute everyone so that we can then unmute at the time of question answer session. Yes. So in this verse, Krishna is now creating the background for this Chaturshloki Bhagavad-Gita to come. And in the background, Krishna is saying here that unless one is firmly convinced, or translation will read, the one who is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind engages in unalloyed devotional service of this, there is no doubt. Again, a very significant verse. Now, Krishna has spoken about his opulence, and we have seen some of those verses where he spoke about his opulence in a very detailed manner. And this is his vibhuti. And he'll continue in this chapter later to describe more of his vibhutis and a very elaborate manner. Krishna is saying, knowing this is not enough. You need to act according to this knowledge also. What is that action? Engage in unalloyed devotional service of me, of knowing my power is should trigger you, should also result in you becoming a devotee, a wholehearted devotee of Lord Krishna. So this is and if you understand it tattvataha yo me mama etam vibhuti yogam cha mama yo vetti tattvataha. So similar was there, wording was there in the 4.9 verse also, that janma karma chame divam evam yo vetti tattvataha. So here it is mama yo vetti tattvataha. It is said that once you understand this in tattva, in truth, in reality, and then you it's not enough for you to just know this, but when you contemplate on it, when you think about it, when you just not enough to hear it, but then you realize it that okay, my existence without Krishna is impossible. So what am I doing wasting my life in showing people how great I am? I'm not great at all. And doesn't it make sense for me to then surrender to Krishna and be in harmony, live my life in harmony with him, and purify myself and go back to Krishna? If that is his desire, this is what he wants, why I not align my desires with his desire, my plan with his plan? And if I'm in harmony with him, there is no friction, then there is, all my actions are for fulfilling Krishna's desire, and then it is Krishna who will guide me. So this is the mood in which we should study the four course of the 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita, and we have not even touched the first verse fully. We're just creating a background for that study. So Prabhupada says, unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage himself in the devotional service. And that's so true. We may get logically convinced that there is somebody who is a higher being, or who people may call him God. People, or sentimental or unintelligent people may cry in remembering God. We don't need to do that. We are smart people. We are scientific people. We are science-oriented people. Why should we believe in that? Why should we think about that? So there will be a lot of people who may come close to Krishna consciousness, but are not able to take it up with great faith and great commitment, if I may say so. And they come closer to Krishna. They feel they get some immediate quick benefits out of Krishna consciousness, and then they leave because they have not fully understood Krishna's opulence. And this is what Prabhupada is highlighting and enlarging this point. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. Now, this is the point that we try to look at today. Here are the details. If one knows factually how God is great, then naturally he becomes a surrender soul and engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord. When one factually knows the opulence of the Supreme, there is no alternative but to surrender to him. Now, that's a very significant statement by Srila Prabhupada, that if you factually know, if you tattvataha know all those verses, if you go over and then say that, who am I? What is my status? Who am I, or how long I can survive without God's sanction? Then what is the need for me to be proud? What is the need for me? If I'm not proud, if I'm not arrogant, if I'm not surrendered to Krishna, I'm proud of myself. If I'm not surrendered to Krishna, I'm arrogant about my abilities, and that's so natural. That's a natural confusion. So I should be humble. I should be humbly surrendering to Krishna. I should not be competing with Krishna. And Krishna is so much and so big that I cannot possibly compete with him. I cannot possibly. I can only be happy when I am in harmony with him. When I'm trying to compete with him, I'm jealous of him, I'm envious of him, and that time I cannot become happy. So this is a fundamental point Prabhupada is trying to draw out of this purport. These are some of the opulences of the Supreme Lord. When one is firmly convinced of them, he accepts Krishna with great faith and without any doubt, and he engages in devotional service. All this particular knowledge is required in order to increase one's interest in the loving devotional service of the Lord. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is, or by knowing the greatness of Krishna, one will be able to be fixed in the sincere devotional service. So again, a last statement is very significant. One should not neglect to understand fully how great Krishna is. People generally say that, okay, God is great. No, people may not even know who is God, or they may not consider it very necessary for them to know that who is God. People generally may say everyone is God, all gods are great. Oh, I am also God, you are also God. People can have different kind of conceptions, but it is important for a serious sadhaka, serious devotee to know how great Krishna is, and he should not neglect. He can, at times we all take it for granted. Okay, I'm chanting my 16 rounds, so I'm chanting it because Krishna is great, and I must have heard it 5 years back, and over 5 years I must have forgotten it also. Now I suddenly consider myself as great because I chant 16 rounds every day. And even Krishna consciousness can also take us back on the old path. We can just be arrogant and proud and rude and the bad, may not consider Krishna's sanction enough by just getting misled in our devotional life also. And hence we need to be in connection with all the devotees, the senior devotees who can bring us back on path. So this is important, that knowing Krishna's greatness is important from time to time. Therefore, we should always be reminded of this greatness. And at times, we may forget, and hence we should not be. And from how we can learn it through hearing, and that's what we will highlight it in our last slide, and then we go to the question answer. So it is important to understand how great Krishna is. And here in Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna himself explains it to Arjuna for our benefit. So like in our example, we saw we visited car showroom, and there the salesman or the people in the showroom, they were explaining us the features of that car. But here Krishna is doing that job all by himself. He is explaining to us all the features of himself, so that we can make Krishna our object of we make Krishna the object that we wish to achieve and attain. And bhakti is the process to be followed to attain that object. So without Krishna's mercy, our existence, survival is not possible even for a second. Hence, we must remain humbly submissive to Krishna. Also, we must act as per the instructions given in Bhagavad Gita. So we should not make our own plans. We should align ourselves with Krishna's plan. Krishna's plan is to reclaim all souls back into his planet. All souls should go back to him and live with him happily ever after. The real ever after, happily ever after, exists in spiritual world. And Krishna is inviting us through these instructions to that spiritual world, where he says that tadhama paramam mama, yad gatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So Krishna clearly gives path of bhakti or devotional service led by hearing and chanting in association of devotees. So this is a simple activity that if we do this also, we will yesterday Maharaj said, he reiterated this. Just keep chanting 16 rounds, keep following all 4 regulative principles, and Krishna will take you back to Godhead. There is no doubt in that. So this will invoke. So when we'll do these things, the hearing and chanting continuously, daily, in association of devotees as much as possible, wherever possible, whenever possible, then this will invoke love for Krishna in our heart. And in that mood, we will not be able to forget Krishna. The object of love always manifest in front of us. Wherever, by closed eyes also, we can see Krishna then. And so in that way, we will always remember Krishna, and we'll also remember during our life. We will also remember him during our happy moments, during our sad moments, during the problems, during the achievements. And we will also remember him at the time of our death, and thereby we will go back to him. The facility for devotional service is morning japa session, evening chat session. All of you are welcome to take part of both. And finally, we come to the question answer. So we'll open up if anyone has any question, comments, we can discuss.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yeah, please continue with your sipping. Because the devotional service of yours towards Krishna and to upgrade the fallen soul like me is too much that at least that should be, in fact, that has to be served to you as it is done to the spiritual masters. So you have covered lot many new aspects, like starting you were told all the three from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and giving the elaborate meanings to many of the verses from chapter 7 and chapter 10, which are must to be understood from a devotee only, because bare reading understood. So you have added beautiful, means we cannot come the bare reading of it. And while summarizing as you have referred to the Maharaj yesterday lecture, it is always a nectar in therein, which is whenever the Krishna kathas are and any doubts are cleared by devotees of Krishna regarding the Krishna's story. Like if we read in the Bhagavatam, there comes many stories which are known even by single-handedly. Like if we just get to know the Bali Maharaj's life, and we don't get to the other lifetimes of Bali Maharaj, we feel sometimes that Krishna has cheated him barely. But when we read it to the entirety, that comes through the devotee, then we come the goal of reading or hearing Krishna Katha, it becomes more nectarian and more clear. Means there Nati Yastra Sanchaya, that parts come clear. So that all is because of the devotees like you, Prabhuji, and other like His Grace Narottam Prabhuji and Amoglila Prabhuji. So tons and zillions of thanks to you for clearing all those kind of doubts and putting us truly fallen souls on the beautiful path of the devotional service. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Raji, for all your kind words. But yes, objective is to be on the path and stay on the path and stay committed, because that's where this I think the knowledge is handy, because they will keep us reminded that we are not great. Krishna is great, and if we stay connected with Krishna, then we have a hope. So that's our that's our takeaway. Thanks for your comments. So if there are any other questions, we can go to the questions, or else
Prabhu, it's not a
that
question.
is again possible, Prabhuji. That is again possible due to association of yours.
Sorry, thank you so much, Raji, for that.
Prabhuji, it's not a question, but I think the sessions what we are attending with you, what has happened in past or what will happen in future, it's all mystery or it's unknown. But with presence, I think with present time, if we follow the Krishna consciousness, probably that would be the right approach for all of us, because in the past it has been explained very well by you how the Krishna consciousness has helped so many people, including Arjuna, which has been always mentioned in all the verses. And in future, we don't know. But as you said, we are all part of this, existence and creation as per Lord Krishna's willingness. But I think as per our karma, it is all the presence what we can do. And thank you very much for your guidance and advice and trying to explain the verses. So we will rightly, understand this and act accordingly. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, please go.
Yeah, one thing which it was really inspiring for all of us is there is no time, act now. And as you rightly said that whenever this, God inhalation will happen, nobody knows. So we are left with no time and act now. That was really beautiful things to inspire us to start putting our time and energy right away to get to the right path. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for a wonderful session.
Thanks so much, Praji. If there are no questions in the chat box also, so let's, I think, close today's session. Thanks everyone for participation. And so we'll actually start with the first verse of, we'll analyze first verse of this. We just created background for the Chaturshloki Bhagavad-Gita. And the next Sunday, we'll start with the discussion on the first verse of the 4 beautiful verses that we have. And hope all of you will join for that session next Sunday. And stay safe, have a wonderful week ahead, and we will meet next Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.